Hey Pretty Girl Club, welcome back to the Privilege Stacking series, and in this video I'm going to talk about an article that I came across, and it basically is a study that took place over the course of 32 years, and they found that those who hang out with obese people, basically it increases your chance of becoming obese if you have a friend who becomes obese. So it's pretty safe to say that part of the reason you're fat is because you hang out with people who have a beluga mindset, okay? So first let me tell you what a beluga is. So when I use the term beluga whale, I'm talking about those who have a mindset of being obese and they want to stay obese, and then they body shame others, and then they hide behind the body positivity movement in order to promote their agendas. So I'm not just talking about, oh, you got 5 pounds to lose, you have 10 pounds to lose. No, I'm talking about the people who they're big, they don't want to change. In fact, they want you to change, or in some cases, they will even push food onto you. Have you ever been around food pushers? That's like one of the phrases that I heard some other people using. These are people who make fun of your body type. They say that like you're just skin and bones. They say you look like a starving Ethiopian. They say you're built like a pencil or that you look like a stick. They say that you look like a tree branch or like you're going to break in half. So they're doing all this body shaming of you. But then if you look at this article, it literally says that you have an increased chance of becoming obese if you hang out with people who are struggling with things like obesity. So I talked on here before about how there is a certain archetype that I tend to not get along with. So if you check out my other videos, you will figure out what that archetype is. So are there certain women who tend to take you away from your goals? Because I have noticed that for me personally, if I'm hanging out with girls who are like very overweight, those are the women who are most likely to comment on my food choices. Anytime I've ever been called anorexic, by the way, I am at a healthy weight and a healthy BMI, but I've noticed a pattern where anytime I've been called anorexic or I hear people say, oh, she looks like a little boy, all of those comments, they do tend to come from women who happen to be overweight. And so if you're trying to stay skinny, if you want to be a skinny legend, you may have to sacrifice and not hang out with women who have a beluga mindset. Because another thing I've noticed too is sometimes women who are like addicted to food, the only way they can socialize is if there's food. So they don't want to go on a walk at the park. They don't want to go to yoga class. They don't want to go dance salsa with you. No, they want to eat food. That is the only option you have. And then I've also noticed that like anytime I've been friends with girls who have this mindset, they'll literally get mad at the restaurant that I picked. They'll be like, no, we need to go to this fancy restaurant where it's like their food is really good. So they're also like food snobs in some cases. So now, not only am I eating extra calories, but now I'm spending my money to get fat. Imagine spending $150 at a restaurant so that I can then gain 5 pounds. Like, are you serious? And I know that you can't gain 5 pounds from one meal, but it's like, imagine that I just spent $40 or $50 going to this burger joint and I keep going every week. I am going to gain weight if I keep doing that. Have you ever wondered why you gain weight during the holidays? Well, part of it is because maybe some of your family members are overweight and they eat a lot. And also it's because a lot of your social gatherings are revolving around food. So one of the things that I have used to my advantage when it comes to friendships is I love having skinny friends. I love having friends that are in shape because it helps us to kind of keep each other motivated. And no, I'm not talking about competitive eating disorders. Why is it that literally everything a skinny person does to hold themselves accountable, everybody says it's an eating disorder? Oh, well, if you hang out with skinny women, it's because you have a competitive eating disorder. Oh, well, you're being fat phobic because you're saying that women need to lose weight. It's like, okay, you got all these terms and phrases. If you spent as much time in the gym as you spent coming up with these terms and phrases, you would be a freaking bodybuilder by now. But one of the ways I stay skinny, though, is I do like to hang out with other women who value fitness because, first of all, we have more in common. Okay, so they are going to be leveling up with me so we can hold each other accountable. Have you ever tried to be friends with someone who's like really overweight and then you guys make a plan like, okay, we're going to go walking every day. Okay, we're going to go to the gym, and then they never show up? Has that ever happened with any of your friends who are like super into fitness? Who is more likely to not show up to the marathon training? I'm just saying, who's more likely to not show up? I'm not accusing anyone. I'm just saying, if you decide that you're going to train for a marathon, you're going to do a triathlon, or that you're simply going to go to the gym 30 days in a row, who is less likely to show up? The person that's extremely out of shape, or the person that's like they struggle with being lazy, or the person that's already athletic and they already love working out? But one of the disadvantages that women have when they become overweight is that they don't have anything to look forward to other than food. Like that's the main thing that makes them excited is how is the food going to taste? And a lot of this comes from being a high sensation seeker. You know, they're seeking after that dopamine hit of having the sugar. And also, have you ever stopped to think about why some people become fat? You know, a lot of times it's due to other mental health issues or maybe some physical health issues as well. But generally speaking, if you are able bodied, like if you have all of your limbs and if you are mentally normal, then you have control over your own body. Like there are so many different strategies that a person can use to lose calories. I've talked about how I've literally done 10,000 steps before in my bedroom, walking in place. In fact, why are you watching this video sitting down on the couch right now? You're sitting on the couch and your life is passing you by. Okay, no, I'm done. Shout out to the millennials. If you're a millennial, you know what commercial that is. But no, it's like there are so many different ways that you can just burn calories. So what I try to do is like, if I know I'm going to be eating out this weekend, I will try to eat perfect for 3 days before and 3 days after I go to that restaurant, because then it kind of balances out. So a lot of people with a beluga mindset, they don't understand that when it comes to being skinny, no, I'm not hungry all the time. No, I'm not starving myself. It's that I kind of plan out when I'm going to eat. I plan out what my calories are going to be and stuff. I kind of like have a guess of how many calories I'm going to eat. So for example, today is Thursday when I'm recording this. I know that generally speaking on Saturdays, I tend to want to go to brunch. Like generally on the weekends, I end up going to brunch with my friends or something. So I know that this weekend I'm going to be going out. And so because today is Thursday, I have been eating pretty healthy. You know, tomorrow I'm going to be eating fairly healthy. And I know that I'm going to be going to a bar with my friends on Saturday, so I may get myself a non-alcoholic drink. So, you know, drinking your calories. I'm going to be drinking my calories or whatever. I know a lot of people say you shouldn't drink your calories. Okay, well, I'm going to be drinking my calories in a couple of days. So one pattern I've noticed is that skinny people are a little bit better at kind of predicting what they're going to be eating. And when it comes to obese people, a lot of them struggle with being impulsive. And this is something that I used to struggle with when I was a beluga. I struggled with being impulsive. So anytime that I wouldn't plan my meals, I would always end up eating a whole bunch of cookies, a whole bunch of cookie cake in general. Oh, and by the way, if you start your day off with sugar, you're fucked, because now you're going to be craving sugar all day long. The most satiating nutrients are fiber and protein. So if you start your day with a big ass donut, you just fucked yourself over, because not only is that donut 1,500 calories, but now your body's going to keep craving sugar. You have had no fiber. And so it's not that skinny people are over restricting themselves. It's that we just happen to make better choices. Oh, and by the way, one thing that I wish people would have told me is that cardio is not going to solve all your problems. So I don't care how many miles you run. I don't care how many weights you lift. That's not going to solve all your problems. Losing weight is actually so much easier than I thought it was. I was actually shocked at how amazing my body looked when I simply started eating vegetables. And another thing I've noticed about the beluga mindset is that for a lot of people, they feel like food equals love. And so, I mean, I guess that's not a bad thing, but it's like there are other ways to express love rather than eating. So they feel like, you know, the only way you express love is by eating together with someone, by cooking them a meal. They cook you a meal. You go to a cookout together. You go to a restaurant together. And so they're seeking love through food, or they feel like their social relationships and their social interactions have to revolve around food. Like it's somebody's birthday, you have to eat food. You're going to grandma's house, you have to eat food. It's a Friday night, you have to eat food. And that's something that I used to do. I used to have this endorphin relationship with food. So I was specifically eating foods so I can have a dopamine hit. So I'm eating sugar so I can have that rush of like chocolate. You know, I definitely struggle with chocolate. I just ate some chocolate today. Actually, I had white chocolate today and I had dark chocolate today. Any form of chocolate, white chocolate, dark chocolate, or milk chocolate, I'm going to eat it up. It's going to be gone. But what I want you to do is I want you to pinpoint what your top 5 most triggering foods are, because everybody has food triggers. Everybody has certain foods to where they know that they can't control themselves. Like, is there a certain food that you know you can't go without. So for me, I know that I used to be addicted to sugar. Oh, by the way, be sure to join the Patreon if you want to know how I overcame like sugar addiction, what herbs I used and stuff. But for a lot of people, they're either addicted to sugar, addicted to carbs, they're addicted to feeling full, like that full feeling in your stomach, they're addicted to that, or they're trying to numb their own emotions. But a part of the reason why you might struggle based on who you hang out with is because sometimes overweight people, they're used to eating hella calories. And so when they see you eating half the amount, like that's not normal to them because they usually eat 3,000 calories in one sitting. So then they'll start talking shit or they'll try to push food onto you, or you're making them feel bad. You make them feel insecure because you brought vegetables to work, or you brought some bone broth to work. I remember one time I brought some bone broth to work and I was drinking it, and one of the ladies commented on me drinking bone broth, and she started like going on this whole rant about how that's not healthy. And it's like, sis, bone broth has so much collagen in it. Like, what are you talking about? And have you ever noticed that it's always the people who are not in shape who are the biggest health experts? So you're telling me you suddenly know all of this information about health. Suddenly you know all of this information about what diet is safe and what diet is dangerous. And you want to tell me how I'm supposed to live my life. You want to tell me what my body is supposed to look like. You want to come at me for having bone broth when you literally just ate a pizza pocket for breakfast and you ate 5 cookies for lunch, as if that's healthier than bone broth. So part of why I stopped hanging out with women with this fat girl mindset is because it's my version of moving in silence. Like I get to just lose weight, I get to be healthy, I get to eat my little carrots and stuff without anybody talking shit. Because it's very discouraging if you're on a health journey and everybody in your circle is talking shit about what you're eating. And have you ever noticed that for some people, it's not that they're triggered by your weight loss, it's that they're triggered when you become skinny. It's that they're triggered when your stomach becomes flat. So every woman who's overweight, she has different weight triggers. So have you ever been around people where they don't mind that you went from a 16 to a 14? That's not a big deal. But as soon as you hit size 8, as soon as you hit size 10, or now you're slim thick or something, now that's when you're triggering them because now they can see the difference. Now you're starting to meet their internalized beauty standard, and so they want to sabotage it. So I have just made it my goal to hang out with like women who are fit, because another thing that happened to me too is that I talked about this on the Patreon, how I had 3 fat girls who didn't like me. And this actually had nothing to do with weight, but I did notice a pattern where they would always talk shit about other girls' clothes. They would talk shit like, oh, she's wearing short shorts. Oh, she's wearing a short skirt. And it's like the women that they would talk about, they would be very pretty and they would just be in shape. And so I've just noticed that there's a lot of projection that women do when their bodies are not where they want them to be. So my way of moving in silence is, guess what? I'm not even going to eat my healthy meals in your presence. Like I'll just not eat anything. Did you know I've had friends before that are also skinny. They will not eat anything if we go to like a buffet or if we go to like certain restaurants or if we're hanging out with a whole bunch of people who are kind of like judgmental. I've actually come across other skinny girls who they'll get a coffee or we'll go to the movies. They won't eat anything. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, that's actually very smart because first of all, no one can criticize what you eat. Because have you ever noticed that people are constantly criticizing what skinny women eat? Oh, you shouldn't have that smoothie bowl. Oh, that's going to raise your blood sugar. Oh, all that fruit is going to make you bloated. Oh, nuts are actually going to make you fat. It's like you've got all this shit to say because she looks like a supermodel. But then if I were to say you shouldn't eat those cheeseburgers, you're going to say I'm fat shaming and I'm being fat phobic. So a part of your way of moving in silence, just don't eat when you're around certain people. If you know that this particular friend or family member has a lot of insecurities about their body, and if they talk a lot of shit about what you're eating, just tell them you already ate. Like, oh, I already ate, I'll just get a soda. Sodas are what, 300 calories? I don't know. Like, oh, I'll just get a soda. Oh, I'm just going to eat something small because I just ate a few minutes ago. So they're less likely to ask questions if you tell them that you just ate right before coming. And I would say if they're still questioning you, then just don't hang out with them anymore. Because it's like, I don't have time to hang out with women who hold me back from my goals. And I'm not willing to sacrifice my body goals to appease insecure women. Okay, so your insecurities with your body, that's not my responsibility to fix. That's not my problem. I already have my own life that I'm dealing with. I need to focus on my own mental health, not yours. And have you ever noticed that sometimes women who are insecure about their bodies, they look to you for validation. They want you, the skinny girl, to validate their bodies. They want the exotical space to validate their body. And it's like, I don't have to validate your body. That's not my responsibility. You can validate your own body. Why are you having an external locus of control when it comes to bodies? Like, just validate yourself. Figure out what your own body goals are. Another thing that can happen too with friends is I've noticed that everybody has their own little definition of what's fat and what's skinny. So let's say you're a size 10 and you want to go down to a size 6. Now you've got gaslighters saying, oh, well, size 10, that's not even big. Okay, that's not big to her because she's a size 25. So, of course, she's going to say that that's skinny. So sometimes, like, bigger people, they do kind of project onto you, and then they'll be insulted because it's like, how dare you not want to be closer to my size? How dare you only be a size 10 and then you want to go down to a size 6? So I've gotten to the point where if somebody is like really big, and especially if they're struggling with their weight, I definitely don't talk to them about weight. I don't talk to them about my weight loss goals. Maybe if they ask a question and they're being genuine, then I will. But generally speaking, I'm not just going to casually mention my weight loss and fitness goals. Absolutely not. And have you ever noticed too that for a lot of big women, they view you eating healthy food as a form of social climbing? Well, because it is. Me eating a healthy meal, that's me social climbing, bitch. Now what? I'm social climbing because my brain is going to function better than yours because I'm not going to have brain fog. My stomach is going to feel better. It's going to be flatter because I have all this fiber. I'm not going to have undigested boo boo in my stomach. So you guys have to remember that eating healthy food is a form of social climbing. That is why people call you out. Like, oh, you trying to eat a salad. What you eating a salad for? We at a soul food restaurant. Why are you getting salad at the soul food restaurant? And so they're calling you out because they understand that eating healthy and having a healthy diet, you are literally giving yourself a privilege in society. You are. If you think about people who are rich, people who are famous, think about anybody you look up to. It could be a rich person, a famous person. Are they obese? Seriously. Anybody who's rich, famous, successful in your profession, think about whoever your role models have been. Did you think of anybody who's obese? I didn't think so. So, therefore, I can say that yes, eating healthy meals, that is a form of social climbing. By the way, if you want to get access to like the kind of stuff that I eat every day, be sure to join the members page. That's where I talk about exactly how I eat whatever I want. Something else that people have done to me in the past is like at work, I have had people try to offer me candy, or they will give me all of the leftover candy. They'll be like, oh, just give it to Exoticals United. Like, she's skinny, she'll eat it. Like, she can eat it without getting fat. So they think that like you can handle more calories. And so they're giving you the food because they're like, look, I don't want to sabotage my weight loss goals. So let's let Exoticals United sabotage hers because she has a longer way to go before she gets fat. And it's like, okay, that's still a form of sabotage. Because, what if I've been working hard to maintain my size 4? Another thing I've noticed too is that sometimes bigger people, they will try to eat pizza in front of you or they try to eat chocolate in front of you. It's almost like they're trying to flex the fact that, hey, I get to enjoy this food. Like, look at what I'm eating. Look at all this good food that I'm eating. You don't get to eat this. And I feel like it's because they're stereotyping. They think that if you're skinny, you're anorexic and you're just like restricting yourself. And so it's almost like they want to dangle it in front of your face, like, haha, I get to eat all this good food and you don't. Like, you're just skinny and miserable, kind of the miserable skinny girl stereotype. But it's like, if I were to dangle my bikini body in your face, like, haha, this is what I look like in a bikini, then you would say that I'm fat shaming you. So do you see how people, they try to do these subtle ways of sabotaging you, but then if you do the same behavior, then like you're a mean girl and a bully? Another thing that you have to remember too is that no is a complete sentence. So if somebody offers me food and I say no, I don't have to explain myself. I don't have to explain why I'm not eating the cupcakes. I don't have to sit here and explain to you that I'm on my fitness journey and I've been doing this for a few months now. No, I don't owe anybody an explanation to what my body goals are. And so like when you're leveling up and doing your weight loss stuff, you can just keep it to yourself. You can keep it a secret. You can cut off or temporarily, don't hang out with friends that push food onto you. Just only hang out with them once a month. Or if you are going to hang out with them, just make sure that 3 days before and 3 days after that you eat perfectly. And then, when you go out with them, then you can eat the soul food. because you've been eating fruits and vegetables and lots of fiber for the past 3 days. And that's one of the strategies I use. Like if I'm just at home by myself, I'm going to be eating lots of pears. By the way, Kamas pears are so good. You should totally get those right now. Those are in season right now. So I'm going to be eating pears. I'm going to be eating apples at home. I'm going to be eating arugula. I ate all three of those things today. So when I go out, even if I do eat a lot of calories when I'm out, it's still not going to make me fat. And that's part of the reason why people are like, how does she eat so much and she never gets fat? Well, it's because when she's not around you, she's not eating like that. She only eats like that when she goes to the pizza shop. You know, she only eats like that when she's out with her friends. She doesn't eat 5 slices of pizza every day at home in her apartment. You also have to remember that when it comes to weight loss, you're losing weight for yourself. I'm losing weight for myself. I'm not losing weight so that I can prove to beluga whales that I'm capable of it. You know, so I have an internal locus of control. I want to make sure that I meet my internalized beauty standard. And so other people, they're just going to have to accept this new version of me. Guess what? I'm a skinny bitch. And so other people, they're just going to have to accept the new version of you. You are the skinny version of you now. You're no longer fat Keisha. You're no longer fat TT. You're not big TT anymore. You're little TT now. So they're just going to have to get used to it. They're going to have to move over and make room because here you are. The new leveled up, glowed up version of yourself is right here. So they're just going to have to shut up, sit back, and watch you succeed. And have you ever noticed that sometimes people will like get upset if they try to share food with you and you don't eat it? Like sometimes people will sit there and watch you to make sure that you ate the donut because they have this that basically they don't want to feel guilty for eating that. And so they want you to be involved in eating it. Like, oh, you know, if I don't eat all of these donuts by myself, then I'll feel less guilty. So let me share them with this girl so that she gets half of the calories because then I won't feel as bad about myself. That's why sometimes people get upset when you don't accept their food because then it makes them feel guilty like, oh, dang, I just ate 5 slices of pizza. She wouldn't eat the pizza with me. And sometimes people are actually competing with you. Did you know that a lot of people have a hierarchy mindset when it comes to weight loss? They feel like skinny is at the top, obviously, and that being obese would be at the bottom. And so it's a competition. So that's why they're offering you food. Maybe they've been starving themselves the whole day. You have no idea. So they'll offer you food and then they won't finish their food because then it makes them feel good to know that you overate and they didn't. It's them one-upping you in their mind. Another thing you have to ask yourself too is what's more important to you? Your body goals or this person's opinion? Because I know for me, having the body of my dreams, that far outweighs a hating ass bitch's opinion of me. Anyway, what do you ladies think? Let me know in the comment section and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.